Frontline Conversations, leading the debate since 1984.
I'm very happy today to have a word with Sasikanth Senthil, who has been an extraordinary figure behind the results that we see today. Senthil prefers to keep a low profile, but he's actually won with one of the largest margins in Tamil Nadu, if not the largest, for the Congress party. He has also run the Congress war room during the national elections, and he also set up the war room in Karnataka before the assembly elections. More than that, Senthil has lived the middle class dream of cracking the civil services and becoming an IAS officer, which he's given up, and he has now entered parliament, and he's just 45 years old, and it's amazing, and I have so many questions to ask him. Senthil is also from a Dalit background, and I noted at a time when many people on social media are saying that the Congress is not saying enough about social justice issue, when Senthil took his oath, he spoke about injustice on minorities, Dalits and Adivasis. So for Frontline Conversation, I'm absolutely delighted to have a word with Sasikanth Senthil. Congratulations, Senthil.
Thank you, Sabha. Thank
so
you.
How have your 2 days in Parliament been?
Good. It's very humbling for a person like me because the space that I come from, we wouldn't have dreamt to reach this in a matter of 50-60 years. Not only for me, for a lot of people from my community and my village, it really matters.
So, just tell me a little bit, you won from the seat of Tiruvallur with a margin of 5.72 lakhs, which is the largest in Tamil Nadu, more than you won for the Congress party. Even the DMK guys did not reach this kind of margin of victory, am I correct?
True.
So, please tell me a little bit about your background, and plus you've cracked an entrance exam, you know, and you've given it up. So, you can't say it's humbling. I mean, you know, you've done all of it at such, and now you're a member of parliament.
I've done all that not without a certain kind of politics. You know, I really feel that, you know, it's not only about me, and it is not about anybody who are so-called achievers by themselves. You need a certain kind of politics, you need a certain kind of environment, you need certain, and given that environment and that situation, I think then somebody can prove whatever they can. For me, I would say that defines me. That when I grew up, my father always used to say that, you know, we have two brothers. My father always used to say one is for the house and one is for the country. And the one who is for the country, I used to assume that is me. And I've always charted my life like that. And another profound statement he always used to say is that you have to look back the road that you came from. That has been always ringing in me. Wherever I go, I keep thinking that where did I come from?
Where did you come from? I'm asking you, where did you come from?
So, I come from a first generation Dalit background. It was my father's generation who sucked up all the issues that they had. But they had a kind of politics working in Tamil Nadu which focused on social justice. And we had a great, you know, push in education because we didn't have anything else. And then with that support, he became something. He became a government servant. And then from that point onwards, he always pushed us. So I come from that visual of my village, my father's lifestyle and everything. So that defines me largely, that who I am.
Being from Tamil Nadu and the fruits of the Dravida movement also define you?
Yes, absolutely.
Also enable someone like you to...
Absolutely. Without that, we are not here.
Without that, you're not here. Okay, fascinating. And then you cracked the civil services exam. You get a rank also. Please tell me a little bit about that journey.
Oh, that was like, you know, I did my engineering in electronics and communication from NIT Trichy, and I was good in computers. So I thought that I should, because that was the computer era that, you know, and then I got into a good company, but something was not working because I had this background in my mind that, you know, you need to go back and do whatever is required. some point I realized I cannot live with machines for a long time. I'm good at it, but no. Then I resigned from there and then joined an NGO. Worked with the college for some time and then tried to see myself in the social space, which I found was working for me. And then I worked for a NGO on participative rural appraisal techniques and other things. And that's when I thought that somebody told me government is the biggest NGO, that we should try and go there. And then I saw the civil service and tried applying and working. In a matter of 2 years, I could clear that exam.
How many times did you sit for the entrance?
It's like, 2 serious attempts.
2 serious attempts.
And we always have a non-serious attempt also.
Okay.
So 2 serious attempts and third attempt I could clear it. When I cleared it, I was the first ranker in Tamil Nadu and then I was 9th ranker in the All India when I cleared it.
Well, so, it's a fantasy of middle class students to
but
do
that's not only me. I told you I had to have a certain system, certain support systems and certain politics working to do it's all put together.
Okay, then you were in the civil service, you were Karnataka cadre.
I was in
because
Karnataka.
the first time I met you, I remember, I learned that your last posting was the DM of Mangalore.
Yeah. I was the
and then you quit.
And then in 2019, I quit service and I quit quoting a very specific reason, and sitting collector resigning from service in protest is actually a...
What was the reason?
So, as I told you that, I am defined by the politics which brought me there. I saw a threat to that politics from 2002 onwards when we saw the Godhra riots happening in front of us. How come an elected government engage in something like this? So, from that time I started seeing the other politics. What is that politics? Which works on, dividing people and, winning elections out of it. And I have been closely watching every aspect of that politics. What are the indicators of that? And when 2014, when the current Prime Minister, who was then seen as the perpetuator of everything, come to become the Prime Minister of this country, which I never thought would happen. It happened, and the way it happened, I was very apprehensive that this is going to go in a different direction. And for the next 5 years, I watched them very closely, every aspect of them, their demonetization, their this, their that, everything was copybook of that politics which happened all over the world. History books is full of these indicators and examples of what our country is going through. The attack on educational institutions.
What is the phrase you would use for it?
I would say fascist.
You would say
fascist. And I did use that phrase.
Okay, fine.
And you can say fascist like politics, you are populist, but I think it's bordering fascism.
Okay.
And in 2019, I was the district election officer of Mangalore, conducting the whole election. And in that chair, you have to be as, you are a neutral person, But then I was always hoping in a larger sense that this country will give a different signal. But then in 2019, when they came back to power with a bigger vote share, that's when I thought that now this is the time we fight this. If we don't fight this, then the politics that I talked about, which defines me, I would be guilty of not protecting something which made me, right? So then they abrogated Article 370 and they moved in the army into Kashmir. Even that was, shocking, but the idea of resigning came when I saw the whole military keep everybody in the state in a state of house arrest.
So you actually resigned over Kashmir?
Yeah, I resigned with Kashmir as a trigger, but the entire politics with a very big push to fight this politics. I have written a resignation letter.
Fascinating.
In that letter, I have very clearly written that you have hit upon the fundamentals of a diverse democracy, and I am not going to. I am better off outside fighting you rather than sitting inside. This is the exact phrase I used, and I resigned on a day in the morning, and then I left the district.
It's fascinating. It's also about, you are from Tamil Nadu. You resign from the civil services over Kashmir is the final trigger.
Yeah.
And in 5 years, Senthil, congratulations, you are an MP. But more than that, I think from what I'm understanding about you, it's not just that you won your seat with a large margin, you've now entered parliament, but you were also in charge of the Congress war room.
Yeah.
I think that is when I met you in Karnataka, and then in Delhi you were definitely, and Rajasthan also you were trying to do the war room during the assembly election. All the time you were sitting in Delhi. So how you managed to win your seat is remarkable, because you were actually working very hard in the war room. So just explain to me, with your politics, with your ideology, does the Congress, which is often seen as a status quo party, actually, how does that inspire you?
See, initially I had no idea of political party. I was very much bothered about the silence in this country, but nobody was talking, the intelligentsia, political parties. So my first thing was that I thought it will take me at least 3 years to move around the country and to push. And I always thought, students, I have to talk. What is, like, I am like a very jittery fisherman who saw the tsunami coming right in the middle of the ocean and coming back to the shore to wake everybody up, that kind of thing. I'm sure many of us would have felt that, you know. But then I was also apprehensive, and I knew a fascist government will have only violence as an answer to anything which they can't fight, you know. So I was also apprehensive about violence. But then they brought in CA, NRC, and that required a lot of explaining to people, make them understand why would a government want to register. You know, anybody would have read Nazi history, would knew the first thing Hitler did was to register people and then move them into categories, and then make differential laws, and then use the laws to put them in concentration. This is the logical thing, everybody. So there's a lot of explaining which had to be done about CA, NRC. We did all over the country. All the while,
you did this as a member of the Congress?
No.
Now you're doing in your independent?
No, it was
when
all independent, to talking to students, talking to individuals, minorities, different kinds of people, to make them understand what this is and where it is leading to. Especially the majority community. Tell them, boss, you are the actual victims, you know. So that job was being done. I was continuously traveling all over the country, you know, but mostly on closed meetings and, you know, not on open forums.
Yeah.
Then Shaheen Bagh happened. Then they started the Delhi riots. This
I remember
exactly
February 25th they
yes,
start.
That's exactly what I was afraid about.
Yeah.
That they will have violence as an answer. And the violence will not be government perpetuating on people, but people pitted against people. And that's the basic damage which a fascist government will do. They will divide people so that they do the killing and they just be the observers. So this happened, around 150 odd people were murdered in this one space, and I was here running, then also trying to help, running a control room, trying to help people. And so there,
as a member of civil service, civil society. Not you've left the IAS.
Yeah.
You're now a civil. So how does the Congress journey begin? When does that happen?
That is when I thought, if innocent people are going to lose their lives, then probably I should use the political forum, the democratic space which is still available to fight them. We still had 3 years. So I myself went to the Congress, because I knew Congress was the party which had the ideological background and the breadth and the length to fight them. And that was the initial feeling, and I went to Congress and I said, I will join the party.
Who you approached?
I had a senior colleague who was in Congress, so I went to him, and then he inducted me, and then I was working with the Congress in organization, in kind of little bit of help on how things are. Then Tamil Nadu election started. When Tamil Nadu election started, that is when I thought I should take the formal plunge into Congress.
Which year are we talking? 22?
22.
Tamil Nadu, yes.
And I went into the Tamil Nadu election. First time I organized the campaign in a very formal way and logical way. I organized a small war room, and then we worked on that. You know, as I started working with the organization of Congress, I started falling in love with organization, because for me every political party has three major steps: organization, ideology, and then the leadership.
Okay.
In Congress, the organization is not alone the leaders, it has a huge cadre base. Every village you go, you will have some 10 congressmen sitting, women who still believe in, that kind of empathy, love, affection and all. So I started falling in love with that cadre, huge group of people who think goodness is what they want, So, and they are there in every village. And this organization is giving me that space to move around.
But you were talking about South India. In the North, they were seen to have vanished. Senthil.
No, they're still there. They're still there. The connection seems to have vanished.
It's like the Congress comes back from the top.
But the connection seems to have vanished. But in
now
every village, you just rub their surface. They will say that
they were once Congress.
We are actually
Okay.
Rajiv Gandhi fans. In Tamil Nadu, if you go, you will still find children Rahul Priyanka names.
Yes. In Tamil Nadu, of course. South.
Even in North, you just have to just scratch a little bit. They'll tell, no, we were all Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi. Indira Gandhi gave this house. Things like that. They are still having that. So, and basically people who believe in the ethos.
Can I tell you my Congress connection?
Yeah, I know. Without you telling, I will tell you. Yes,
you tell me
one.
what
You have one.
I have one, long buried. But my grandfather's elder brother was the first Congress MLA from Raebareli.
Oh.
Before Feroz Gandhi went there. Now you think of it, he took Feroz Gandhi around. He was the first Congress MLA. So they were freedom fighters. It comes from that legacy. But of course, I mean, there was a left component also in the party, so in the family. So it's an old connection. You're right.
And I believe the ideology of Congress is the Constitution. That is the written manifesto of Congress. That is the product of the freedom movement. And I also don't see, the freedom movement was also a movement for equity. It was not just against the British. It was also in bringing these ethos that we have as the Constitution. So it was natural for me to take up that ideology and work for it.
So you, because the Congress is also, because you have fairly radical ideas. It's also
Congress ideas are also radical.
Radical? You think? And what is how do you see Rahul Gandhi today? Is he changing the Congress?
See, Rahul ji, is a very, very good human being. Extremely good human being. Extremely very sharp, very radical if you compare what is going on right now in many sense. And he believes in the basic, humanistic principles.
Yes.
In that way, anything associated with him will change. It has to change. One great example is this Jodo Yatra.
Bharat Jodo Yatra, yes.
It's like today one of our biggest reasons of our success is that demonstration of character through something Congress always did. Congress languages was not rhetoric, it was not big speeches. It was walking, that was our language.
And that Rahul did that in the first Yatra in particular.
Yes. And if you have a leader like that, who can lead from the front and do that, the organization will change and has changed, in fact.
Okay, so but there are other points. There is this, he's just taken over for the first time, a member of the family has actually taken a position as such in government. Does that mean that you will now see him as a prime ministerial candidate, or is that inevitable that the Congress will see him in the future?
See, I'm not a great fan of what is going to come in the future, but I can very clearly tell that he is a leader with all the character and aspects which this country is all about.
Are you talking about finding morality in public life again?
Not only that, you need a certain mind to understand India. See, in India, we don't tolerate differences. We celebrate differences. That's how this country survives. We celebrate our differences. We are beautifully chaotic. One needs to understand that, and I think Rahulji is somebody who clearly understands that and who can lead everybody towards that, and that's going to give our character and a politics for the future. I'm like not talking about us, our generation is still over. What about the youngsters who are going to come?
Yeah.
What is their
Your
politics
generation
going
is
to
not over, you're just 40 in your 40s, so please. But I have one more. I have a couple of questions because of your own background. The Dalit issue. Right now, it is believed that the big shifts have taken place in the state of Uttar Pradesh because of the transformation, changing choices of the Dalit community also. At which point are we in that? You are from Tamil Nadu. You were born there, where all this caste, mobilization took place much before. Whereas the north, at the same time, I have multiple questions actually. One is, how did you work in the Congress war room? But before that, as a Dalit MP right now, as an IAS officer, at what stage are we in our own history as far as Ambedkar's vision, Ambedkar's dreams, and what exactly has happened in UP as you see it, or in Maharashtra? Has there been a shift in Dalit politics? Or is it impossible to generalize?
No, but I think we were in the right direction until we kind of forgot to do what had to be done, what Ambedkar ji told about, social freedom as such in the last speech. We are still yet a long way to go. I would even expand that a little and talk about caste as a very important factor. The entire burden of caste system is borne by the Dalits.
Okay.
It is a hierarchy. It is a graded hierarchy, as Ambedkar ji calls it. So anytime anybody who propagates caste in some way, even a surname, as innocuous as that, we may not know what impact it has, and we may be not casteist ourselves. But when we do kind of assert, or when we do a little bit of propagation for that, the burden of that whole caste system is borne by the Dalits, because they are at the bottommost.
They are the bottom, right.
So, and as far as questioning caste system as such, we have not gone much further.
Not gone.
We have kind of stopped some atrocities either other, but largely we are a casteist society.
Yeah, absolutely.
And casteism, patriarchy, also these are all sister brothers, they are not big difference.
Yeah.
So we have to understand caste system, and this caste system, how it propagates. Towards what Ambedkar visualized, I don't think we have gone a long distance, but we were in the direction. As long as we brought in a legal rational system, and we moved legal rationally towards bringing in equity, we upheld affirmative action, and when we moved, we were in that direction, and I am a product of that. So, but a lot needs to be done to understand the whole nexus. It's not just addressing Dalits. You can't just address Dalits as such. It's the system which is a problem.
Is the Dalit, it's again a very terrible generalization, but I'm going to make it. After all these years after independence, is the community, have Dalits come up? You are there. Can one generalize like that? And there has also been an argument, which I find the articulation odd, but I'm putting it to you, because you spoke about ending atrocities on Muslims, Dalits and Adivasis. Are Muslims sort of now even at the lowest in society?
So,
I mean, can we make an equation between communities and caste? I don't think we can. I'm always uncomfortable, but I'm putting it to you.
Yeah, so
because you think
the
about
problem
this.
with caste is there's no escape route.
Yeah.
Your marriages are restricted, love and everything is restricted. So you can't move out of that space at all. And generations together you cannot move. And you have an occupation associated with you also, so that it keeps reminding you who you are. All that intelligent formulas are there already. With communalism, there might be escape routes, but with BJP and RSS, in fact, very interestingly, I observe, they are actually making the Muslims the new Dalits.
Even though you were in Bangalore, where there's quite a lot of wealth with the Muslim community. So it's in Karnataka. So just explain the equations right now to
so
me.
wherever the lowest of strata, social strata gathers wealth, then there will be there will be violence, there will be people who will be put into more problem, caste will become more stronger, communalism will become more stronger. That's the logical thing. So this idea of I am up and you are down has to be re-established in society through certain practices, that you cannot transform your job and earn more. Why? Because then you will go beyond me. You have to. So the only way, smart way that in governance we have found is the affirmative action to bring up a community so that it is equal.
But Muslims cannot get reservation per se except through caste groups. They do. I know this. Nitish Kumar gives occupational groups of Muslims. They are in the various lists.
Yeah, because caste has no escape route is what and there is this idea of pollution, which is now being talked about the Muslims. Earlier that was not the case. Now when you saw the COVID, also they brought in this Tablighi Jamaat, ye log aise fek. So
I never saw it like that. It's
and
about
in
the
fact,
idea of contamination.
I'll give you another interesting. The biggest caste is women. You have everything which is there on a caste system in women also. They talk about purity. They talk about when women can be touched, when they're impure, they cannot have their love life, and there is a divine ordinance on how they should behave and everything. So it's all the same. It's all a very intelligent system of hierarchy is built. So I feel we have not gone further. We will never grow further also if we don't deal with this caste system. Okay, and I'll tell you one more thing. And we will never become innovative. India will never become innovative or creative with caste system, because दिमाग सोचने वाला somebody else है caste system के, हाथ में काम करने वाला is somebody else. They both will not mingle, and if you don't mingle these two things, you will never innovate. Have you ever wondered why India has never innovated?
Have we not innovated? You are innovating in your life.
Where did we innovate and find big things? We are good in theory, we are good in many other things, but we don't create stuff. Because this habit of creating is not
is not there.
So a caste has to be on the head, and some caste has to be on the hand.
Head is telling the hands to what to do.
Doesn't gel. So I think we'll have to transcend the caste system in a big way. We have not moved very far.
We are talking in big themes, but I have another question is, do you think we are seeing a transformation like the Bahujan Samaj Party, for instance? It is declining. We have another young MP in Parliament, Chandrasekhar Azad. So are these new voices? Mayawati's decline is actually, she was a phenomenal figure.
So it's very important these voices come up, and they come up with the right understanding of Dalit politics. So I'm very happy to see many more youngsters come up and put up a system and push fight this thing. But it is also very easy to get deviated into some other fights, So that has its own political churning, and it is happening. But I wouldn't say we have come a long way. The society has not come in a long way. It has not come a long way in patriarchy, neither in caste system. Yes.
Yeah, okay. But there are still things, while you've been in Parliament, first of all, you took that extraordinary oath, which I really admire. And then, because you're from Tamil Nadu, and I'm going to ask you, there's suddenly been a demand that the Sengol should be withdrawn. Is that?
What are all this? This is all, if it represents something.
Does it represent anything of any meaning for Tamil people?
I don't think so. It's just that it came from Tamil Nadu is the only thing. Sengol represents justice. In fact, in our culture, that's why you have a Sengol, is to rule with justice and equity.
Does it represent justice, or does it represent a monarchy?
So when you have a monarchy, when you have extraordinary power in your hand, it is very important to have that idea of justice, equity and fraternity. And the Sengol in a way represents that. It is also It is not just a stick to rule, it's a stick to rule with a lot of, see, ethically managing power is important. I think it is representing that, but as long as it represents that, but if it is construed to be something which is a danda kind of thing, it better go
It's
away.
just interesting that the SP MP has written to remove that and place the constitution.
No, I would surely agree, because I know what the constitution is. I don't
Yes.
have an interpretation there.
Yeah.
I would certainly agree with that.
You would agree with that position, that replace the Sengol and put the constitution
Anything
back.
when there is this constitution, which is a written, legal, rational thing of, I value it much above any kind of symbolism. Today I see in many churches people have put the preamble. In many houses I've seen the preamble. I'm very happy to see that, because there is no interpretation over that. Why do we fight? What does it represent? Let's write it down. That's the whole idea of a progressive society, right? Let's not work on somebody, a philosopher king. Let's write down how they will operate.
I get it.
I would anyway.
I want to know, what did the Congress war room achieve? Because the Congress did not have a good structure in the Hindi belt. It's performed better, especially in some seats in UP. In alliance, it's performed, the numbers have gone up. Can you tell me what were you trying to achieve in the war room?
Okay, I wouldn't first of all call it war room, because we are not doing any war there. We are trying to connect to a lot of cadre of people. But this whole change in voting behavior is not just about the Connect Center. It is about leadership. It is about the narratives the leaders put.
Is it how important is the booth management?
It is. See,
that is where I always felt that the Congress was weak compared to the RSS, BJP cadre.
It is important, but it alone cannot operate.
Okay.
You need a narrative. You need the organization, and that's when the organization and narrative, along with the right communication, will actually influence voting behavior. So it has to operate on an equal level. Yes, you are right. Congress was weak in that space. That we tried to balance it this time. But I also, have to say this, that Lok Sabha elections are largely narrative elections.
Okay.
What is the narrative that the leader is going to give? So,
what was the narrative as you understood it?
This time we were very clear, at least Rahul ji was leading the narrative, and he had excellent clarity in what the narrative should be, and more than that, what it cannot become.
What was it? Please just tell me what you saw.
The BJP had a narrative on the lines that we expected it: polarization. That's the narrative they sell.
Yeah.
They work on the fear of a voter's mind, that ye hoga to wo ho jayega types. We wanted to go perpendicular, not at all parallel in any way to them, perpendicular, dissecting the livelihood issues, dissecting employment, dissecting women's empowerment, and we proposed 5 guarantees, everything affecting a family. We promised certain
I know the guarantees because you were part of it in Karnataka. I have seen those.
Yeah.
And you were happy, but the point is, there's also been a lot of criticism that can they be afforded? Is the Karnataka government being able to pay its bills?
Yes, Karnataka is paying it.
Paying its bills.
Karnataka is paying it, and we have thought over it. It is not without the thought process.
Without thought
it
in
is brought
application.
out.
So it's working out.
Yes, it is working
And then I remember, I believe that the Prime Minister actually picked up the idea of Modi ki guarantee after the Karnataka election, Congress ki guarantee, and he ran with it.
The word guarantee was flicked by. In
but
fact,
it didn't work. It boomeranged. It boomeranged on him.
Let me rewind. A year before, he was calling it Revdi.
Yes.
If you remember.
Revdi, yes.
And he was making fun of it. And then he took the word himself, as usual, without any shame, and then used it as Modi ki guarantee. But the problem is, he never told what that guarantee was.
Modi was the guarantee. Modi is the guarantee. So, and I think that was counterproductive with the 400 seats, with his own party, with his own larger ideological family. Just Modi. Anyway, that's for another conversation. But so that is the one. So you felt the economic issues, or was it the caste census?
No,
was it reservation that he will take away reservation?
So the primary line is the economic issues. Now, there is another line that BJP themselves had given in our hand, that they are not going to wait, they are going to change the Samvidhan, right? And then that whole idea of 400 par, what easily people could understand that these guys are going to do this. Now, they are giving a brand of majoritarian politics, saying that hum Hindu hai, Hindu ka ye problem ho raha hai. So, India is the only country where even this majoritarian line is fake. In other majoritarian countries, there is real majoritarianism.
Why is this fake?
Because in other majoritarian countries, you have undue advantage for the majority, and then the minority gets a very tough deal. This is what the majority here in India, the majority itself gets a rough deal from BJP. Now, when I ask for caste census, who am I asking for? I am asking it for the Hindus. And the vast majority of the Hindus are going to get benefited out of that. Why wouldn't BJP not want it?
Why do they not want it?
Because they care a damn about Hindu and Hinduism. They only use it as a tool to gain votes. In their hearts, they are castists. And they are casteist people sitting on the higher echelons, trying to flummox the rest of the caste system to make believe they are actually one. And that's.
But Narendra Modi is OBC.
Yeah, but he doesn't care about OBCs. He should have been fighting for the caste census. Why is he not? So, he is this opportunist who is just nullified with the upper echelons and trying to utilize the whole fake narrative of Hinduism, Hindutva, to gain votes. That's all. And after they gain votes, their actual enemies are these OBCs, SCs, STs. Muslims I don't think they have much to do with Muslims. They do that so that they get votes of these people. But after that, they have been only destroying the lives of, whatever affirmative action this category of Hindus have got. So that's why I say India is the only country where Hinduism, this whole majoritarian politics is also a fake majoritarianism.
So this has been absolutely fascinating, Senthil. We've just talked about so many things, and it's been a delight, and thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure, Sabha.
Frontline Conversations, leading the debate since 1984.